After winning Game 5 of the ALCS in walk-off fashion in the 11th inning, the Cleveland Guardians are now one win away from advancing to their first World Series in 8 years and have an opportunity to do it on the road against their rivals. Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Guardians franchise here on MLB The Show 22. We have been waiting since the start of this series for an opportunity to advance to the World Series, and today could be that day. With a win against the White Sox, Cleveland is headed to the World Series for the first time in 8 seasons. It's been quite the journey so far for Cleveland. Game 5 was an absolute thriller at home, winning it by the final score of 4-3 in 11 innings with a walk-off base hit by the 19-year-old outfielder Zane Rowley, our very first draft pick of the series. I feel like we have momentum coming back to Chicago here for Game 6. Obviously, it's not an elimination game for us. However, if we lose this game, we could be in a little bit of trouble. With one of our better pitchers, Max Fried, getting the start today, if Cleveland loses, they will be without both Shane Bieber and Max Fried for Game 7, and possibly Emmanuel Clase as well, as he pitched 3 innings in Game 5 and absolutely dominated in those 3 innings, essentially saving the season for the Cleveland Guardians, helping them take this 3-2 lead against the White Sox. Chicago won the AL Central this year, and they won it convincingly, winning 11 more games than the Cleveland Guardians. But none of that is going to matter if Cleveland wins one of these next 2 games, Game 6 right here, and Game 7, which would be in the next episode if we were to hypothetically lose this matchup today. Max Fried and Dylan Cease warming up for their respective teams as we take a look at both lineups for tonight's matchup, 1-9. Cleveland has the usual suspects in, including the 2 rookies, Zane Rowley and Ramon Romero. Here is Dylan Cease, who has pitched great in 2 postseason starts. However, he's 0-2. He's got no run support in the games that he's pitched in, and Chicago's going to need their offense to perform well today if they want any chance of winning the game. Good start here for Cleveland as Jesus Sanchez rips that one into the left center gap for extra bases as he's going to hold up at second for a double. The Guardians' offense has been really inconsistent throughout this entire postseason series, and I'm sure they would love to set the tone here in Game 6 early. Sanchez at third, 2 away for Bell, who hits it high and deep into right field. Back at the wall, it is caught, so the Guardians will not score anybody here in the top of the first inning. Good start for Dylan Cease. Let's take a look at Max Fried, who's been used as a Swiss Army knife for the Cleveland Guardians. He's pitched in 4 games in the postseason, 2 as a starter, 2 as a reliever, and he's been quite solid. A 3.57 ERA, 1.08 whip. He has continued to be a great trade deadline acquisition from the Atlanta Braves as he starts his night off strong, striking out the leadoff man, Garrett Hampson, to open it up. That'll bring up Brandon Nimmo. Full count here for the former Met, and he goes down on the 12-6 curve. Great off-speed pitch by Fried for the second out of the inning. We'll see if he can retire the side. It's Luis Robert, who's been probably the best player regardless of team in this series, and he continues to dominate offensively as he singles into right field. So the White Sox have a base runner aboard here with 2 away. Can Diaboculus drive him in? It's a weak ground at a third. Jose Ramirez makes the play, and so nobody scores in the first inning. Both teams get a base runner, but aren't able to do anything with said base runner. We'll see if Cleveland can score here in the second as the walk-off hero from Game 5, Zane Rowley, is up with 2 away, goes Oppo Popo. That one's going to drop for a hit in left field as he rounds first. Nope, he's going to go back to first. Didn't want to risk it. So a 2-out single for Zane Rowley. We'll see if the fellow rookie, Ramon Romero, can drive him in. 2-2 pitch on its way from Cease. Romero hits it well into right, and that one's going to drop for a hit. Zane Rowley headed for third. He is safe. So the 2 19-year-old kids both reach base here in the second inning. Can Campusano drive either of them in? That answer is no, as he grounds out to second. Leury Garcia makes the play, and although Cleveland hasn't scored yet, they are hitting the ball pretty well so far, so I do think there's a reason to be optimistic about the Guardian offense as this game goes along. Bottom 2 away for Gavin Sheets. He's going to go into left field, and that one's going to go for a hit. Little lefty on lefty crime as Sheets rounds first, heads to second. The throw from Rowley is a good one, and he got him! Zane Rowley, what a play in left field to throw out the runner. Part-time ball player, full-time sniper. As it remains tied at 0, Zane Rowley playing some of his best baseball, and the momentum keeps on moving here in the third. Jesus Sanchez with a no-doubt home run into right field, and the Guardians are on the board first. Jesus Sanchez with his 6th home run of the postseason, 388 feet. Sanchez continues to be Cleveland's best offensive player throughout the playoffs. He has been historically good in this playoff run for the Guardians. That'll bring up Jose Ramirez, who takes a big swing and a miss on a changeup low in the dirt. Good job by Cease to rebound after allowing the home run. Yasmani Grandal leads off the bottom of the third. He goes down on the sinker. Max Fried is looking quite solid so far. Chicago has gotten a couple of base hits, but overall Fried looks quite good as he faces off against Leury Garcia. He's going to weakly dribble this one. Going to be a tough play. Can Fried make it? Yes, he does, as he throws out Garcia by mere seconds. Fried certainly looks like he's doing his job so far. Let's go into the bottom of the fourth. Still 1-0. As with one away, Luis Robert gets his second hit of the game, ripping that one down to the third base line, and that one's going to be a double. Another good throw out and left by Zane Rowley, who continues to play awesome today, but Robert is safe. Can Diaboculus drive him in? It looks like he will. Rips that one into left field. Robert should be able to score. It's an RBI double for Raconde Diaboculus, and this game is tied up at 1. Huge hit for the White Sox to try to get themselves some momentum back in the ball game, and with still only one away, they can do some more damage. Andrew Vaughn hits that one down the right field line. Diaboculus will score. It's an RBI double for Andrew Vaughn, and the White Sox, within a matter of seconds, take a 2-1 lead. Just like that. Now in the top of the 5th, 2 away for Ketel Marte. He grounds it to short. Hampson with a routine throw, and it is offline. Ketel Marte reaches off of an error. Cleveland needs to take advantage. The offense has been quite bad since the Jesus Sanchez home run, and it is Jesus Sanchez up at the plate. He strikes out. Ball goes behind the backstop, and he nearly beat out the throw, but he was unsuccessful, unfortunately. Dylan Cease pitching 5 great innings of baseball so far for the White Sox as it remains 2-1. Leury Garcia up here in the bottom of the 5th for Chicago with 1 away. Hits this one into right center. That's going to drop for a hit. Max Fried was dominating through the first 3 innings, and it has all fallen apart since then as Garcia will waltz into second with a double. The White Sox are already winning and have a great opportunity to extend the lead here with Brandon Nimmo up to the plate, and he will single it into left. Garcia rounds third, heads to home. The throw is not in time from Zane Rowley. It's an RBI single for Brandon Nimmo, and the White Sox extend the lead as it's now 3-1. Luis Robert with a moonshot into left field, and Chicago has broken it open. It's now 5-1. Luis Robert has been dominant in this game for the Chicago White Sox. I believe he's a triple shy of the cycle, continuing to be such an energy boost for the offense. Max Fried will be taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Nick Sandlin. Fried started really well, but the past couple of innings, he just got absolutely rocked. I don't think the White Sox offense is done, however. Sandlin's first batter is Raconde Diaboculus, and he's going to double into right center field. Chicago's up by 4. They have all the momentum. Their offense is cruising. We'll see if they can add some more off the bat of Andrew Vaughn, who rips this one into left field for a hit. Diaboculus rounds third. The throw to the plate from Rowley is not going to make it. An RBI single for Andrew Vaughn, and it goes from bad to even worse for the Guardians, who are now down 6-1. Yohan Moncada is now up, and the inning still remains alive as he singles into left. Sandlin's first 3 batters he faces off against all reach base. This could get ugly quick. Sheets goes down looking, so the Guardians get out of the inning, but still an absolute disaster as they allow 4 runs. The White Sox lead big, 6-1 your score as we go into the 6th. Dylan Cease quietly is continuing to pitch really, really well here in this inning as he walks Franmil Reyes. Tough pitch to lay off on a full count. Good job there by Reyes to not get overly aggressive. Dansby Swanson is now up. He lines this one into right center field. That'll go for a hit. Reyes rounds second, heads for third, and he is safe. So the Guardians have runners on the corners. They got to take advantage of this opportunity with 2 runners on if they want to get back in the game. Dylan Cease's day is done. He'll be replaced by Matthew Thompson. The White Sox have been going with the strategy of having essentially 2 starters pitch. They have their first starter, take him out, and then put another starter in. It worked in Game 5, kind of, even though they lost. And so far, it's working in Game 6 as he gets Zane Rowley to check his swing. Still remains 6-1. The White Sox looking good, but there is still time. Cleveland's still hoping for a comeback. Miguel Castro is in here in the bottom of the 6th inning for the Guardians. He is not allowed a run in 3 2/3 innings so far of playoff ball. We'll see if he can keep it going, and he will not. The leadoff man, Yasmani Grandal, will homer into right center field, and the White Sox extend the lead even further as it is now 7-1. Leury Garcia goes down on the sinker. Good job by Castro to rebound after allowing the home run. Let's go to the 7th now. Cleveland is down big, and the offense is not showing any signs of making some noise as Ramon Ramiro goes down on the changeup for the first out of the inning. That'll bring up Luis Campusano with a moonshot into left field. Will that be the spark that Cleveland needs? A solo home run for Luis Campusano, his 2nd of the playoffs, and Cleveland cuts the deficit down to 5. There's still a long way to go, but it's still good to see Luis Campusano making a play and giving Cleveland's offense some form of life because they have not had any since the 3rd inning. Ketel Marte hits it down the line and fair. That one will go for a single. Now the offense is starting to look a little bit better. They've been getting some runners on base the past couple of innings. Campusano, of course, hit the home run. Jesus Sanchez draws a walk. Things are looking up a little bit. The deficit is still big, but I think there's light at the end of the tunnel right now for Cleveland. 2 runners on, 1 away for Jose Ramirez, and he strikes out. That's a big pitch by Matthew Thompson, and now Cleveland's going to need a base hit if they want to score any more runs in this inning. It's Josh Bell, who has also been great in the playoffs, and he strikes out as well. With how many runners on base Cleveland has got the past couple of innings, you've got to feel disappointed that only one of them was able to score. So Cleveland is still down by 5 going into the top of the 8th inning now, as Franmil Reyes leads it off for the Guardians, hits that one well past the glove of Garcia. That one could go for extra bases. Reyes rounding first, heads to second for a double. So Cleveland opens up the inning with a runner in scoring position and a great opportunity to again cut into this deficit. Zane Rowley hits it well into right center. That's going to drop for a base hit. Rowley on his horse. Round second. It looks like he's going to head for third. An RBI triple for Zane Rowley, and it's a 4-run deficit. That's the first triple of the entire postseason for anybody on the Guardians. Thompson will be taken out of the game. He'll be replaced by Ryan Burr as he'll face off against the pinch hitter, Manuel Margot, subbing in for Ramon Ramiro. Margot draws a walk. So now the light at the end of the tunnel is lighter as it's been since the 6th inning. Runners on the corners for Campusano, who strikes out on the slider. Big pitch there by Burr. That'll bring us back to the top of the order. Ketel Marte is up. 2-1. 2 away. The 2-2. Hits it high. Not all that well. It looked like it jammed off his bat, and it will be caught out in left field. The White Sox can just taste victory. They're 1 win away from sending this series to 7. Can they do it? Let's go to the bottom of the 8th. Ryan Weathers is in for Cleveland. This might be the Guardians kind of waving the white flag a little bit. They're not using their normal relievers now. Weathers is one of the Guardians' worst relievers, so I guess they'd rather save their normal guys for a likely Game 7. Sure enough, Weathers would start the inning off poorly, allowing the bases to be loaded, but nobody will score as Luis Robert strikes out. So Weathers gets out of the jam, and we will go into the top of the 9th inning. The Guardians need 4 runs if they want to stay alive and avoid a Game 7. The closer, Liam Hendriks, is in for the White Sox. Throughout this entire franchise series, the Guardians have had a lot of success against Liam Hendriks, and so far so good. With 1 away, Jose Ramirez gets hit by a pitch, so that's a base runner for Cleveland. That'll bring up Josh Bell now, the 3-2. Grounds this one past the glove of Garcia for a single. Things are getting interesting. Fasten your seatbelts, as now there are 2 runners aboard and 1 away. Franmil Reyes draws a walk. The bases are loaded. The tying run is at the plate. It's Dansby Swanson who hits it well, deep in a right center field. Robert at the wall Get ready for liftoff because this game is tied at 7. A grand slam by Dansby Swanson here in the top of the 9th inning. Oh my goodness, this is what playoff baseball is all about. What a swing by Dansby Swanson, the other big trade deadline acquisition from the Braves, and the game is tied up here in the 9th inning. Maybe the biggest play of this entire franchise series so far, a grand salami by the shortstop Dansby Swanson to keep the game alive. 426 feet, a nuclear missile in a right center field, 7-7. Hendricks is taken out of the game. The Guardians still, in fact, own him. Jose Ruiz is in for Chicago. He has not allowed a run so far in the playoffs. Facing off against pinch hitter George Valera. He checks his swing at a horrible pitch, ending the inning. But Cleveland is still alive off of the go-ahead grand slam by Dansby Swanson. So now that Cleveland thinks they can win this game, they're going to start using their actual good relievers again as we go into the bottom of the 9th. Camilo Duvall is into the game for the Guardians. Duvall pitched in the 8th inning in Game 5, and he did not pitch well, allowing 2 runs. Cleveland is hoping for a bounce-back performance from him tonight as he strikes out Diabokulis to open up the inning, 1 away. Vaughn goes down on the slider. This is the Camilo Duvall we all know and love. 2 away. Now Moncada, he goes down on the fastball again. Camilo Duvall strikes out the side through 9 innings. We do not have a winner, and for a second straight game, we are headed to extra innings. Let's go into the top of the 10th. Will Benson pinch hitting for Campusano, and he draws a walk. Good start to the inning. The Guardians have an early base runner. We'll see if they can strike first here in the 10th. Ketel Marte is now up. He rips it up the middle. That one goes for a hit. Cleveland is keeping up the momentum from the 9th inning. Although this game is tied, I feel like Cleveland is feeling themselves right now. The tide is with them. However, Sanchez grounds out to second. Garcia makes the play, but he does advance both base runners. An extra base hit should score at minimum 2. Jose Ramirez will be intentionally walked. Probably a smart decision there by the White Sox. Force an out at every base. If this ball is on the ground, the White Sox can turn a double play. Well, it's on the ground, but in the outfield for a base hit. Josh Bell drives in a run, and the Guardians take an 8-7 lead here in the 10th inning as the bases remain loaded. Carl Edwards is now in for the White Sox. He's pitched 1 1/3 scoreless innings so far as he faces off against the Franimal. Franmil Reyes for 3-2. Low and away for ball 4. Marte scores, and it's now 9-7. That'll bring up Dansby Swanson with the grand slam in the 9th. Can he get another one? No, he does not. That would have been sick if Swanson essentially ended the game and the series by hitting a salami. That'll bring up Zane Rowley now. Rips it into right center field. That's going to score 2. Zane Rowley, the clutch kid, only 19 years old. He made his major league debut just over a month ago, and he is delivering in these big-time playoff games as it's now 11-7. George Valera draws a walk. This inning is not over. The Guardians have already scored 4, and the bases are loaded for Will Benson, making his second at-bat of the inning. Hits it well in a left center field, and this one will be caught. So the top of the 10th inning comes to a close, but not before the Guardians score 4. They do leave the bases loaded, but that's back-to-back 4 spots. Remember, they were down by 4 going into the 9th inning, and now here in the bottom of the 10th, they are up by 4. Normally, this is where Emmanuel Clase would come into the game, but he is unavailable after just pitching 3 innings a couple days ago. So Dylan Tate will look to finish it off instead. Here's the first out. Sheets flies it into right center, and that one is caught by Jesus Sanchez, and the Guardians are 2 outs away from advancing to the 2024 World Series. Grandal weakly pops it into left. Jose Ramirez is under it, and the Guardians are 1 out away from advancing to the World Series. It all comes down to this. The batter for Chicago is Leury Garcia, the second baseman. The 1-1 grounds it to short. Dansby Swanson makes the play, and the Cleveland Guardians are going back to the World Series for the first time in 8 years as they upset the White Sox in 6. Cleveland's motto throughout the postseason, why not us? They upset Toronto in the wild card game. They upset the 103-win New York Yankees in the ALDS, and now they upset the division champion 100-win Chicago White Sox in 6 games in the ALCS. And Cleveland, who entered the playoffs with the worst record of all of the American League finalists, are going to the World Series here in Season 3 of the series. This just feels like the team of destiny. We went through so many ups and downs throughout the season, and I've got to be honest, for most of the season, this did not look like a World Series team. If you told me these guys were going to the World Series, I would have said you're crazy. But here we are. The great thing about playoff baseball is any team can win any game and any series. I mean, look at the Phillies in real life. This Guardians team and the Phillies are so similar. Worst record in their conference, and then just completely surprise everybody throughout the entire postseason. Just like the Phillies, we have 2 guys at the top of our rotation who are true aces, Shane Bieber and Max Fried. And it was Fried today who got the start. He didn't pitch great, but the bullpen did a really good job of shutting the door after the 6th inning. And obviously the offense was great down the stretch. We scored in the 7th, we scored in the 8th, the Dansby Swanson grand slam in the 9th, and then 4 more in the 10th to finish it off. We scored the final 10 runs of this game. Dylan Cease was absolutely fantastic, and the White Sox bullpen blew it. So there you go. We are going to the Fall Classic. The only team standing in our way of the championship is, who would have guessed it, the Colorado Rockies. So the Rockies are an interesting story. Just like us, they are not the best team on paper. They won their division by 1 game, but they had a worse record than us, and they're also ranked 22nd in the game. So because they had a worse record, we actually have home field for this World Series. Even though the Rockies are a higher seed, we have the better record. Now, on paper, this team does not look spectacular. Their highest rated hitters are Tim Anderson, Chris Bryant, Brendan Rodgers, Chuka Chakanawara, and Sancho Andrade. Maybe not household names, but they have clutch hitters. These guys know how to get on base, and they've got really solid pitching as well, with Freddie Peralta, Austin Gomber, and Jake Odorizzi leading the top of the rotation, and a pretty talented bullpen as well. I know a lot of you guys are instantly going to think this is an easy win for us. If we can beat super teams like the Yankees and the White Sox, why should we have a problem against the Colorado Rockies? Because yes, they are not good on paper, but they've been unbelievable in the playoffs. They've only lost 3 games, including coming back down 2-1 in the NLDS against Milwaukee, and then they steamrolled past the Mets. They went 3-0 in Citi Field, might I add. And, I mean, this Rockies team is just playing out of their minds. On paper, does not win you championships. Playing well and producing at the highest level does, and I think both us and the Rockies can relate to that. So next episode, we'll be kicking off the World Series with Games 1 and 2 at Progressive Field in Cleveland. What a game today. Should be a lot of fun going into the World Series. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Peace out.